Bekhorot, page 50, we'll start at the Mishnah, page 49b, the bottom of the page. The mitzvah of Pidyon Haben, the mitzvah that we discussed in the past several days or even weeks, is the mitzvah in our Torah, requires us, when he's a firstborn baby boy, after 30 days period pass by, we need to give to God 5 coins, and God in that sense is the God representatives, which is the Kohanim, the priests. We selected one Kohen and we give him in a beautiful ceremony the 5 silver coin in exchange, quote unquote, we having back our first baby boy. In the past several days we discussed a different scenario, such as situation when a person have previously children from the first marriage or children prior to his conversion, and vice versa. If it's a woman that it's her first marriage with a baby boy and different variation involved with this. Today we zoom in the 5 silver coin. 5 silver coin came again from the concept in the Torah. Our Torah, in one hand, said it clearly, but when we try to translate it to our days, we need to have a very clear determination of how much you need to give to the Kohen. Yes, we do have a practical halachot. The famous great rabbis, Rabbi Chaim Naeh, great Rabbi Karelitz, the Chazon Ish, that they came out with a very clear number, which is 96 grams of silver, which can transfer to 5 silvers. How did they get to that? And how you correlate from the biblical times to our days and fulfill that important biblical precept. So first, let's see the text in our Torah. The Torah tells us, in addition to what we learn in the time of Exodus, the Yetziat Mitzrayim in the book of Shmot, the mitzvah of sanctification of the firstborn, later in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, close to the end of Parashat Korach, the Torah tells us in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 16, Uvduyav mi ben chodesh tifde, and those that are to be redeemed from 1 month shall redeem. בערכך כסף 5 שקלים בשקל הקודש, 20 גיירה הוא. How much? From 1 month shall you redeem according to the valuation, 5 silver shkalim by the sacred shekel, it is 20 geira. The statement in the Torah, it's obviously a statement based on Parashat Bo, as we said, based on the idea of Pidyon Haben, that needs to be in the 30 days. And the Torah gives us a very clear, lucid, shi'ur meduyak, a time clearly, which is 30 days, mi ben chodesh peterechem, the firstborn in the womb. And they said, 5 shkalim beshekel hakodesh, 20 gerahu. Gera is like ma'ah. Now, the Torah tells us shekel. This is our Torah, given to us. Soon we reach the festival of Shavuot, little more than 3,300 years ago. Yet the Chazal, our sages, came out and tell us that it is translated, and soon you see how, to the Kohen numbers, and later you see in Halakha how we translate it. A little story. During the biblical time, it was a different kingdom. One of them was the kingdom in the northern, which we call today Israel. Today it's part of a country called Lebanon. and it was a very well-known city called Tzor. Still today, somehow, it's a port city, obviously uncomparable to biblical time. And in the Tanakh is a description of a very well-known king by the name of Hiram, who is the king of Tzor, and he was a very successful in our language, commerce and more. And he developed that city in such a level that it was an international city, an international port city. And one of the things that he was so narcissist that he built for himself on the port 7 level of heights of like reki'im, of like reki'ei nechoshet, that in our language try to show how great is he. But with that said, because it's such a viable and popular and well connected city between which we call today Europe and Middle East and more, so that port, international port city, their currency turned to be international currency, well respected, well recognized. If some of you remember, in the old Europe, each country almost, they used to have their own currency. Now they're smart enough to have euro, which is the combining currency, which is very wise. It improved the general economy of the countries that part of that recognition of currency, which now it's international currency. So the Chazon Ish, the great Rabbi Karelitz, in Choshen Mishpat, Siman Tetzayin Ot Yud Dalet, tells us that the reason we have this definition that it's called Manet Tzori, it's because our holy sages did not want us to get confused how much exactly you need to give to the Kohen. It is a great need to have a very clear and exact measure. So the sages took a currency that is international currency, that it's well used, and because originally, as we read, the Torah used the term shekel HaKodesh, and we know the way that the rabbis bring it down to the Talmudic time, it was a currency called Sela, which is equal to 4 dinarim, and then you have 1 dinar, which is equal in those days to 6 ma'ah. So Sela, which is equal to 20 gerah hashekel, the Torah said 20 gerah shekel, which is 20 ma'ah. So in that sense, it's not exactly, but it's easy for people to go by that because, as we said, Sela Tzori is the international currency, which is actually 24 ma'ah. So this is rabbinic enactment, takanat chazal, that the sages add shishit, they add a little more, which is 4, it's shishit of 20. If you divide 20 by so the Chazon Ish explain, when it's come to Pidyon Haben, it's such a great mitzvah and you want to make it easy on people and people need to know a currency, etc. So therefore the Chazon Ish, Reb Chaim Naeh, came out with the number that it's 96 gram silver nowadays. Originally speaking, it was Rashi, it was a disputation among the early sages, the Rishonim. Rashi hold that Sela, it's 14.16 gram silver. Other great Geonic hold that if you go by numbers is 14 gram silver. Now, one of the fascinating stories about Nachmanides, the great Ramban, in addition of being a great Kabbalist and rabbi in Barcelona, he unfortunately at the age of 72 fled after the great disputation and went to the city of Akko, which is northern of Haifa. And he described at the very end of his commentary on the Torah that when he said, I always, tamid savarti kmo hageonim, I always hold the way that the Geonic said, which is the 17 gram silver. He said, however, when I entered the city of Akko, when he was 72 years old, he said that he found a very, very ancient shekel, ancient coins. And he made the measurement and he says that he discovered that Rashi was right. So as we said, Sela, it's 4 dinarim, dinar is 6 ma'ot, be'aramit, in Aramaic, Sela, it's shekel, and here is the Mishnah. 5 סלעים של בן במנה צורי, So, 5 סלעים, the Gemara said, the Rashi explained later in the Gemara, היוצא במדינת צורי דעשה 4 זוזים, etc. The 5 sela coins of redemption of the firstborn son, with regard to which it is written in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 16, 5 shekel of silver after the shekel of the sanctuary, are calculated using a tyrant maneh. The silver content of the tyrant coin is significantly, as we said, higher than that of provincial coinage, which is worth 1/8 in value. 5 סלעים של בן במנה צורי, 30 של עבד. So Baruch Hashem, we do not have avadim, but in those days it was the owner of Canaanite servant. So if he was killed by an ox, the money that was compensated with the 30 shekel paid. 50 של אונס ומפתה. The Torah tells us in Deuteronomy 22 verse 29, if someone raped, so that's the money. So Rashi bothers why we put it 50 is like separate entity, is part of the mindset. So you use the word klomar וכן 50 של אונס, which means that it's furthermore. But anyways, it's a 50 shekels that paid by the rapist or by seducer. 100 של מוציא שם רע, someone who defamed the character, so defamer, the one who defamed his newly bride with the claim that she is not virgin, Deuteronomy 22 verse 19, he needs to compensate with 100 סלעים. כולם או וכולם בשקל הקודש, as we said, that it's equal to 20 ma'ah. במנה צורי, as we explained, that it's giving with the tyrant maneh, because that's the currency. וכולם נבדין בכסף ובשווה כסף. All the monetary obligations are redeemed, which is paid with coins or with items that of the equivalent value of money. חוץ משקלים, except for the half shekels that are donated to the temple each year, which must be given specifically in coins, and that's based on what the Torah tells us, and it's in the book of Shemot, chapter 30, verses 11 to 16, and later the Gemara expand on that. Manet Tzuri, since the Mishnah tells us that the 5 sela coins of redemption of the son are calculated with tyrant manet, tzori, Amar Rabbi Asi maneh shel tzori. Rabbi Asi said one must give 5 sela of maneh used in tyrant. As we explained, that's the popular currency in those days. Rabbi Ami Amar dinara arava. Rabbi Ami says that the 5 sela coins are equal to golden Arabian dinar. Rabbi Chanina Omer Istera Sarsaya de Mizdabna Temania bedinara 5 minayhu lefidyona ben. So here Rabbi Chanina said there is a Syrian seller, 8 of which are sold a large golden dinar. So one must give 5 of this for the redemption of the son. And as we said earlier, that later on you see that the view of the Chazon Ish and Rabbi Chaim Naeh based on all these discussions. Nun Amud Aleph 50a, the fourth opinion, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Dinara Hadri Yana Trayana Shaifa Demizanvna ב-25 זוזי דל מנאיו שטוטה והנח לפדיון הבן. So again, we talk here about currencies, and it was 2 Caesars, 2 Roman Caesars at that time, that for several decades they control our areas after the destruction of the second temple. So Rabbi Yochanan hold, if one wishes to know how much to give for the Pidyon Ben, for the redemption of the firstborn son, take gold dinar that's totally worn out, but not just one, but the one that it's a Hadrian and Terrian, which are sold in those days at 25 dinars, and deduct from them 1/6, and these that remain are the 5 selah that one must give for the redemption of the firstborn son, which is 20 dinars, as there are 4 dinars in a selah. And the Gemara really challenged that. They said, Hane esrin vechad nechei danka have. So they said, if you go by this way and you deducting 1/6 from 25, so one is not left with 20 dinars, but 21 dinars less 1/6 of a dinar. So a little bit to understand, in order for us to a little bit comprehend how modern days, Reb Chaim Noah and Chazon Ish Zatzal, get to those numbers, you see all this process and the discussions, especially from the concept in the Torah to the Talmudic times to the code to our days. So now the Gemara in a way rectified what Rabbi Yochanan said. Ela, rather, dal shtuta vezuza vehanach lefidyon ben. So again, this is a Havamina. They said, deduct 1/6 and another dinar, and there that left are for the redemption of the firstborn son. The problem is, akate esrin nechei danka. So the calculation is still inexact, because this sum in 20 dinar less 1/6 of a dinar. Ela dal zuza ushtuta. So you have to say to deduct 1 dinar, and from the remainder, which is 24 dinars, deduct 1/6. Vehanach lefidyon ben, must give for the redemption of the son. Dehanei lehu esrin matkele bemitkela dinara, dinun esrin vetamya zuzei ufalga danka b'dinara arvaya. So here you talk first in the comparison between the Arab dinar, Arabian silver dinar, and the others. So they said you take that the weight of 20, it's called matkatlei, of small golden dinars, known as matkatlei, which are worth 28.5 dinars, and half of 1/6 of a dinar, an Arabian silver dinar, to try to, in some ways, for those who obviously have a hard time to comprehend Talmudic times and post-Talmudic times to our days, think just simple numbers like Canadian dollars and United States dollars. So the term dollar is a dollar, right? But the reality is, I'm just throwing a number because it changed daily, but let's say 70 cents is equal, right? 70 cents of American dollars, it's equal to 100 of Canadian dollars. So even we use the term dollars in both ways, it's two different evaluation of currency, right? So that's the comparison that used that context of comparison here. Now the Gemara bring another evaluation for the value of Selah. Amar Rava sil'im deoraita tlata vetilta habe dichtiv 20 gera shekel. He says when you go by the Torah, the term Selah coins, which is the shekels that must be given for the redemption of the firstborn son, are each 3 1/3 dinars in weight, not actually 4 dinars. Because if you go by the text, they said the shekel is 20 geira. And the way translated, umetargemin an onkelos, translated 20 mein, ותניא 600 כסף דינר. מייטיבי, Objection, ועלו סלע של קודש 48 פונדיון. The sela coins of the sanctuary, they are 48 pondion. So, pondion, ze mativo. What exactly you use it? What is the function? So they said, kilbon lifrotrot, meaning the entire year separately. So that's basically the opposite of what Rava said, that the sela of the Torah is worth only 20 me'ah. So the Gemara said, Gemara answered, Batar de osifu ilavaihu. So after they add, the sages added 1/6 to the coins, which is 4 me'ah to each sela. The Tanya, as we taught in the Braita, based on the pasuk in the Torah, book of Shemot, chapter 30, verse 13, 20 gera ha-shekel, 20 gera shall be the shekel. Lamanu la-shekel shu 20 gera. We derive from that the shekel mentioned in the Torah, that is 20 gera. ומניין שאם רצה להוסיף יוסיף, for where we know that if he wants to add, he can add. תלמוד לומר יהיה, 20 gera shall be the shekels. יכול לפחות, may reduce the number of me'ah in the shekel to fewer than 20. Talmud lomar hu, the same is 20 gera, which means it may not be fewer than that. רב אשי שדר לשבזר זוזה לרב אחא ברי דרבינה בפדיון הבן. So he sent 17 dinars to Rav Acha, son of Ravina, which was a Kohen, for the redemption of the firstborn son. Along the money, Rav Ashi sent him the following message: Shalach li lishdar le mar tilta yeterata deika elavayu. So let the master send me back an extra 1/3 of a dinar that is included in the sum, because according to Rava, the sela of the Torah is worth 3 1/3 dinar. 5 sela amount to 16 dinars and 2/3, which is 1/3 less than the 17 dinars he sent. Shalach lei, so Rav Acha sent to him in response, Lishdar limar tlata acharina deosifu levayu. Let the master send me the other 3 dinars that the sages add to them, because after the sages add to the sela of the Torah, 5 sela equal to 20 dinars, 3 more than the 17 Rav Ashi sent. אמר רבי חנינא כל כסף האמור בתורה סתם סלע, דנביאים ליטרים, דכתובים קינטרין, חוץ מן כספו של עפרון, the famous one, the story of Ephron, which we are all familiar, between Ephron ואברהם אבינו, עליו השלום, דאף על פי שכתוב בתורה סתם קינטרין, דכתיב 400 שקל עובר לסוחר בין אברהם אבינו, negotiated Ephron over the burial site of his family, Sarah, etc. in Hebron. So the text said 400 shekels of silver, current money, with the margin, which means that is according to many mefarshim, was extremely high, but it's that the silver was acceptable as shekel everywhere. Vika tuchta de kakaru lekintra tikla. Okay, so they call it tikla. אמר רבי יושע, ביקשו לגנוז כל כסף וזהב שבעולם פני כספה וזהבה של ירושלים. So the sages wish to squander all the silver and gold in the world because of the silver and gold in Yerushalayim, that which was kept in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple treasury, and was appropriated by non-Jews and mixed with the other silver and gold. They did not permit to use it until it found verse in the Torah indicated that is permitted. עד שמצאו לו מקרא מן התורה שהוא מותר, meant Torah, meant the canon, the Tanakh, שנאמר, they said in the book of Yechezkel, Ezekiel, who is himself a Kohen, they said in chapter 7, verse 22, ובא פריצים וחיללו, and robbers, obviously it's figurative, not only literal sense, shall enter into it and profane it, which means that once robbers plundered and the silver and gold, it is profane and does not retain its sanctity. So the Gemara asks, Yerushalayim havya ruba de alma? You mean to say that Yerushalayim is the majority of the world, such that it's all the silver and the gold in the world should be prohibited due to the concern that it comes from Yerushalayim? So Yad David and Meiri and others try to say that in the sense of literal. But obviously there is also spiritual meanings, and we don't have time, but there is several Mefarshim that try to go by more spiritual meaning of this statement. But anyway, the Gemara responds and said, Amar Abaye, what Rav Oshaya referred to is, our sages bikshu lignoz kol dinara hadriyana tirayana shaifa mipnei tiv'a shel Yerushalayim. So the sages wish to squander all the worn-out dinars of Hadrian and Tyrian because of the coins of Yerushalayim, as these coins contain a large quantity of the temple treasuries, gold and silver. So as we said earlier, that this was name of the two Romans rulers, Caesar, that for several decades controlled Yerushalayim after the second temple. And Rashi explained that they put in those currencies their images and spread it around Yerushalayim, and most of the gold and silver that used at that time was taken from our holy temple treasury. So therefore the sages tried to prohibit any benefit from those currency. עד שמצאו למקרא מן התורה שהוא מותר, שנאמר the same pasuk, ובאו פריצים וחיללוה, as Yechezkel tells us, and robbers shall enter into it and profane it. Page 50b, Amar. Now here it's important to know that the Gemara here want to expand the concept of silver. So they said, Amar Rav Yuda Amar Rav Asi, Kol kesef ha'amur b'Torah stam kesef tzori. So as we explained always earlier, the value of tzori and why it's so important. So he said every sum of money refer in our Torah without specifying that it is shekels is referring to silver dinars of tzori, of Tyrian coinage, which have a high value, as we explained the whole concept, how it becomes earlier. Anyway, V'shel divrehem, and when our sages put referring to kesef medina, a provincial coinage, which are worth roughly 1/8 of Tyrian coinage. So v'uchlalau, and this is a general principle, established principle. V'harei, when we have shvuat modeh b'miktzat, if someone claim in part that he is not return a deposit or loan. So the Torah said in Book of Shemot, chapter 22, verse 6, Dichtiv ki iteni shel reu kesef o kelim lishmor, a person give to his fellow money or utensils to guard. Utnan, we learn in Tractate Bekhorot, page 38b, Shvuat dayanin hata'ana kesef. They said that the oath administered by the judges to one who admits to part of a claim in administrated only when the claim is for at least 2 silver me'ah, and the defendant's admission is to at least the value of 1 pruta. So in every sum of money mentioned in Torah is referring to Tyrian coinage. So that's basically kesef tzori. So the question is, how did the sages arrive to the amount of 2 me'ah in this case? So the Gemara responds, shaneatem dichtiv kesef o kelim. They use the term kesef, kelim, silver and utensils. So it means that Torah in a way juxtaposes to one another. Ma kelim shnaim af kesef shnaim. The same way as vessels indicates at least 2, money referring to at least 2 coin. Uma kesef davar chashuv, av kelim davar chashuv. Also, they have silver money is a significant item, the same way is a vessel. So Rav Asi by contract is referred to a mention of money there, so there is no juxtaposition. V'arei maaser, But the truth of the matter, when it's come to Maaser Sheni, the second tithe, the Torah said, Ichtiv, they said in Dvarim, Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 25, וצרת הכסף בידיך, ואכלת לפני השם לוקח במקום אשר יבחר לשכן שמו שם, מעשר אצל ונתת בכסף ושרת הכסף בידיך. So, which means that you purchase with that money something that you can eat in sanctity in Yerushalayim. So they said, Utnan, that's a Mishnah in Tractate Maaser Sheni, chapter 2, Mishnah 8, Haporet Sela Mimot Maaser Sheni. So they said, if someone exchange copper coins of second tithe money of Sela, so Bet Shammai say he may exchange the copper coins for the entire silver Sela. So the Mishnah indicates that second tithe money mentioned in the Torah can be in the form of copper coins and is not required to be in the form of silver coins. So the Gemara explained and said, Kesef, Kesef, Riba. They said money twice, that it means as a ribui, as amplification, which means this additional teaches that Maaser Sheni, a second tithe money, can be in any coinage, including copper coins. So the Gemara asks, Varei Hekdesh, consecrated property. The Torah said in Leviticus 27, verse 19, Venatan HaKesef vekamlo, and he will give the money and it will be assured to him. ואמר שמואל, הקדש שווה מנה שחיללו על שווה פרוטה, מחולל. הקדש נמה יליף קודש, קודש ממעשר. So you learn this holy, the juxtaposition, and consequently one may use any type of coin in this case as well. So the Gemara tried to ask, how about Kiddushay Isha? Kiddushay Isha, but when one betrothed of a woman, so the Chtiv Yatzah Chinam en Kasef, the Torah said in Exodus 21, then shall she go out for nothing, without money. Utnan Beit Shammai omrim bedinar or b'shaveh dinar. Beit Shammai said, one can betroth her with 1 dinar or with item that worth 1 dinar. Ubeit Hillel omrim b'futa or b'shveh puta, much less. They said in the level of puta or even something that's worth puta. So if that's the case, lema Ravasi d'amar ki Beit Shammai. So you should say that Ravasi, who claims that all sums of money mentioned in the Torah are in the kesef tzori, are retiring coinage. So the state is his opinion according to the view of Beit Shammai, even though the halacha is according to the view of Beit Hillel. Itmar achi itmar. Amar Rav Yuda, Amar Ravasi. Kol kesef הקצוב האמור בתורה kesef tzori, ושל דבריהם kesef מדינah, as we said earlier. מהי כמשמע? What do we derive from that? Tanina, we learn in the Mishnah, 5 תנאים של בן וכולי. So the 5 selah of the redemption of first sign. So the 30 of the Canaanite slave killed by an ox. The 50 of rapists and seducers. All this list. So they said, "B'shel divrem kesef midna yitzrich alei," and it's necessary for Ravashi to clarify that payments mentioned in the statement of our sages are referring to provincial coinage, as the halacha was not taught in the Mishnah. Ditnan, that's a well-known Gemara in Bava Kama, page 90. Hatokea lechavero. This is a terrible prohibition, but meaning this is one of those things that unfortunately people don't take it to heart. Someone striked another, for example, to his ear, he screamed and caused him damage. His ear. There are several. Rashi said that he screamed to his ear. Other Meforshim said that he hit him in his ear. But Rabbi Dr said that he held it in his hands. But anyway, Bava Kama said that it's hit. Rashi said that, or he hits some wall, and as a result of that bomb, it hits his drums or something in his inner ear. So תוקע לחברו, נותן לו סלע. He compensated with סלע, דמי בושת. And Ravasi come and teach us, ולא תימה סלע, it means the סלע צורי, 4 זוזי, אלא פלגה דזוזה, דקרין שסלע פלגה דזוזה. So he called 1/2 dinar by the name סלע. Now, the Gemara relate the story of Hanan Bisha, Hanan the wicked. Why do you call someone wicked? So that's Gemara Bava Kama, page 115. The person was wicked. Takale lahu gavra. One time he just struck one person. That person came before Ravuna for judgment. Amar le Ravuna said to Hanan Bisha, Havle palga de zuzah. So he said to him, give him half a dinar, which is the fine imposed for such an action. So Havat Ika or Havale, it's a few Hagarot. Some Kodashim Yavet said Havale, but anyway, Havat Ika. So Hanan had, page 51, Zuza Macha Behade de lo Nafak Kale Acharina V'Yavein Yalei. Because we're running out of time, so we continue with this tomorrow in Mirz Hashem. I just want to say something about the view of Chatam Sofer in our Sugya. So here in Gemara, we have a story of Rav Ashi sent money to a Kohen in order to redeem his son. And we derive from that the person can use shaliach, can use an agent on his behalf to do that. So why not? Shlucho shel adam kemoto. But the response of Shelot v'Tshuvot Harivash, Siman Kuf Lamed Aleph. So he asked, "Is that okay?" And the Rivash did not respond. But the Rema derived that because he did not react, that's the way. But the Hagaot Shulchan Aruch Yoredei Shinhei, he wrote that the father cannot appointed the shaliach on his behalf to do pidyon haben. Many of the poskim achronim dispute the Rema and say that there is no reason that mitzvah pidyon haben should be any different than other mitzvot that you can use shaliach. But Chatam Sofer said that many people mistaken in understanding of the Rivash. He said the Rivash meant that another person that is not Avia Ben, that is not the father of the baby boy, he cannot give from his money and do the redemption of his son, which means to do it in substitute of the father. But if the father redeem his son by himself with his money and is only appointed an agent in order to transfer the money to the Kohen, so for sure it's okay. But the Chatam Sofer, even though he said that, he concluded that we do not have the minhag. It's incongruous. It's inappropriate to use shaliach because the pasuk said va'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim. So therefore, ani velo malach, we said in Haggadah, ani velo shaliach, the Almighty Himself, and not an agent. So therefore, we should be very vigilant and should try hard to do the mitzvah by ourselves and not by shaliach. Zecher lanes.